All right, Mary Beth, so these are the finished masks. Hold on. They have elastic, obviously. They end up looking like this. They stay on very well. This is using the Deaconess pattern. So what I did was I just measured it out on a piece of paper, and I actually did so theirs is 9x6, that's the full square, but I thought that was like a little bit large, so I made some in the 9x6, and then I just took an inch away and made like a little bit smaller size, an 8x6, so I've done like half and half. I figure this is better for like doctors or people with big heads. 8x6 like fits me better, like normal size people. But anyways, this is what it looks like. So I cut these out. I literally just like unfold my fabric, put this down and draw around, and then put it next to it and draw around. So I end up with a bunch of these rectangles. And I just take 2 rectangles and I turn them, put them together. I don't pin anything, I just turn them together like this. And hold on, let me get this so you can see the sewing machine. Let's see. There, that should work. Okay. Oh, hold on. I have to plug in my sewing machine. 1 second. Sorry, my Bluetooth speaker and my sewing machine actually like share a power cord, so kind of annoying, but anyways, okay. So sewing machine on. I have the 2 pieces, so like the inside, the pattern's on the inside. And I start on the long side, and I start sewing like kind of in the middle. I just do forward, and everywhere there's an end, I do a forward and a back stitch, and then continue going forward. And then before I get to the edge, take a piece of elastic, and I put that on the inside on an angle like this. You can see that more clearly in the Deaconess video. And then when I get over the elastic, I back stitch over it again, just so it's like double, triple stitched. And then finish off. I turn the fabric. You have to like lift the little foot when you turn it. I don't know if you sew, but that's the method. And then continue sewing down the side. Before I get to the end, I just reach inside for the other end of that elastic that I sewed and pull it to the edge. Oops. And then sew over it, back stitch, lift the foot, and usually when I get to this point, I trim these pieces of thread, just because if you leave loose pieces of thread, it's easy for it to get caught in the sewing machine, so you just want to trim those whenever you can. So I'm back on the long side, or not the same long side, but anyways, the other opposite long side. All the way to the end, or almost to the end. Get my second piece of elastic. And I cut like all the squares and all the elastics in the beginning, so that way when I'm, well, I have Epiphany cut them, but anyways, when I get to sewing, I just am like a machine and just sew. So I go over the elastic and then back stitch. And then, oops, I'm on the short end. Oops. And then again, I just reach inside, pull the piece of elastic to the end, sew over, back stitch, and now I'm back on the long side that I started with. So this has already started to be sewn from the middle on. I'm going to not close it entirely. I'm gonna sew a little bit forward and leave about like 2 inches where there's no stitching. Forward, and then I'm at like the 2-inch spot, so I'm gonna back stitch just because it's the end, and then forward stitch again. So it's like forward, back, forward, everywhere that there's an end, just so that it's nice and secure. You don't have to do that, but that way you don't have to tie the ends of the thread. It's just faster, and I think it's, like I said, it's just more secure. All right, so this is what it looks like. There's just this one little spot right here that's 2 inches that doesn't have sewing. And at that spot, I'm going to turn this inside out, which doesn't take very long at all. So, oops, what you're left with, oops, looks like this. It's basically just a rectangle, and there's this little space that's not sewed, but it like folds because it folds on its own because the way that you flipped it out. So I don't use any pins. All I do is I kind of just, on one side, I will just kind of fold it like 3 little pleats like that, however looks, I don't know, however I feel like doing it. And I just kind of press it on the table so that it's got little folds where it should be. It'll just kind of stay, and then go back to sewing. So now I'm going to start in the middle of one of the longer sides again, and forward, and back stitch, and forward, and I go all the way almost to the end. And then I'm just gonna like re-fold those little folds that I had just done, just along the creases that are left. And I just sew over it that way. Like on the video, she uses pins, but like not necessary. And I don't have any pins, so just fold over those. And again, I'm left with these little end threads, so I'm just gonna snip those now. And I'm back on the long side. All the way down. And now I'm on the other short side, and I'm just going to, oops, quickly make 3 little folds. You could like do these ones in advance too, but it's just really not that difficult. I don't know. I just do it when I get to it. They don't have to be like perfectly symmetrical. They look symmetrical enough. Just sew over the folds. And then you're gonna get, this is the long side that I started on, so you're gonna meet the point at which you started sewing. And then just to keep so the entire outside of the mask now has like 1 stitch. So on the inside, the seams are stitched. Now it's all the way stitched on the outside. And then I go over the whole thing again on the outside, which just makes sure everything is nice and secure. And you don't have to fold anything this time because it's already stitched and folded. Very long. And the machine kind of just like follows the stitch that was in there before without very much effort. Kind of nice. Once you've done a couple, if you do like the double stitching, you'll find that it does that. And then when I get to the starting point again, so like from here, everything has been double stitched. I'm just gonna back stitch and then forward stitch again. Pull it out, cut the ends. And that's it. So that's what it looks like. Put it on. Whoops. Ta-da! I think the tutorials you sent are like a little bit probably easier and faster, but I've already cut all my fabric, so I'm just gonna keep doing it this way, and these come out feeling like super secure and nice. Like you can see the edges are just by flipping them inside out and double sewing them, like they're super secure. The elastic is like definitely in there. I don't know that the pleats like serve any purpose, but that's how like the real ones are made, so whatever. Anyways, that's what I'm doing. Bye.